CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by exceptionally smooth Michelob. Where you're going, it's Michelob. The new Chrysler Corporation. We don't want to be the biggest. We just want to be the best. And by De Beers, the name that stands for diamonds. A diamond is forever.
Welcome back to Giants Stadium. Second half about to get underway. George Rogers, the leading ball carrier, 41 yards rushing, 10 carries in the first half. We did not see Earl Campbell. You wonder what Bum Phillips is going to do next year with these two guys. He says things are going to change a little bit.
I had a nice visit with him last night, Frank, and he says that what they plan to do is, number one, maybe even put the two guys in the same backfield, get out of the I formation, actually have two running backs, not a tailback, fullback type approach to the offense, and maybe then he has 4 tight ends, use a one-back attack and rotate those two guys in there. But I'll tell you, for the amount of money it costs to have him sitting on the bench, it's not a real good investment.
Well, maybe that's why John Mecum figures it's time
to get out, yeah.
I don't know. You wonder if maybe Bum's trying to send a message to somebody. These two guys may have to fight for this job next year. Of course, Bum says
he feels they will compete. The best guy will line up and be the starter based on training camp performance next year.
Haji Sheik kicking off for the New York Giants, coming down to Jitter Field. Short kick off at the 18 to the 25. And Jitter takes it out to the 28-yard line. But you get back to the fact, should you give up a #1 pick for an Earl Campbell next year? I really have to question that.
Well, Frank, that again goes to a philosophy thing. George Allen, who was very successful, one of the most successful coaches, would do it at any time. I would not do it. Now, that doesn't make me right and somebody else wrong, or me wrong and somebody else right. I would not do it because I really think those first-round pick people, as I said early in the game, have to contribute at least 10 years to your program. And if you're only going to get 3 or 4 years of service out of a guy, that may not be a good investment.
Well, Rogers told us yesterday he wants to carry the ball 25 times a game. That would make him comfortable. There's not going to be 25 carries for him, and you need 2 balls.
Well, he really doesn't buy the philosophy. Well, if you divide the time, you'll get to play longer. He says, Coach, I'm not interested in playing longer. I want to play harder and more often.
Saints leading by a score of 7-3. 1st and 10 at their 28-yard line. Wilson was 5 out of 9 for 59 yards in the first half. And Dave Wilson comes out throwing. So everybody covered, so he simply threw that one away. First half possessions for the New Orleans Saints, very successful. Their first time they got their hands on the football, driving 72 yards for the touchdown. But that was it as far as a long offensive drive is concerned. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Saints. Again, Dave Wilson, one of 2 quarterbacks in the NFL who calls his own plays. 26 out of 28 teams.
You got to have a lot of guts as a coach to let your quarterback call the plays. Of course, that's a philosophy. But first off, you sit here, you don't know what, as a coach, you don't know what's being run.
Guyjon across the 30 to the 32-yard line. That's one of the big reasons coaches give for calling the play, so that everyone knows on their side of the ball what's upcoming.
Each assistant coach can zero in the position that he coaches and teaches all week in preparation for the game, and he can then evaluate why the play broke down. Sometimes you eliminate a play from your game plan, which only one little minor adjustment need be made, and it'll be a successful play. The other thing is quarterbacks have strengths and weaknesses, and they don't want to ever look bad, so they'll call things that they feel stronger about. And it may not be the best thing.
3rd and 6 for the Saints at their 32. 3 out of 5 in 3rd down conversions. Wilson on 3rd and 6 going to Guyjon, and he gets nothing. That's an unusual call for 3rd and 6.
Well, it's good to change up once in a while. Tell you again, Lawrence Taylor did a nice job, all-pro job. He's going to toss the ball deep, moving to the right of the screen. Leonard Marshall, number 70, working inside out. 55, Gary Reason does a nice job. Lawrence Taylor polishes him off right there. Good job of defense.
3rd and 6, and they come running right at Lawrence Taylor, who's killed him in the first half. I wonder if the quarterback called that play. Of course, some are sent in from the bench, obviously. Brian Hansen getting the kick away, and it's a good one. Lionel Manuel at the 29. Across the 30 to the 32-yard, maybe the 33-yard line. That's where the Giants will put it in play for the first time in the second half. 39 on the punt, 3 on the return. The Giants in the first half had pretty good field position, but not much in the way of a result. They did get the 37-yard field goal from Haji Sheikh, but then they had a touchdown nullified on a penalty. They had a field goal, a 48-yarder, nullified on a penalty, and that's the reason they're behind right now, 7-3. Sims' numbers in the first half, 8 out of 15 for 83 yards. And Phil comes out throwing. Big blitz by Ricky Jackson. Sims running straight up the middle across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Dennis Winston, number 56, on the stop. Sims never gave up. You know, with all the problems he had with the injuries. He's had 2 knee injuries, the shoulder injury, the thumb injury. You talk to him, he said, I knew I was going to be an outstanding quarterback in this league, and I never got discouraged, even with all of the injuries. Well, he stayed healthy this year, as Brent told you on the pregame show, and that's made an awful big difference in this New York Giants team. Second down, 1. Giants at their 42-yard line. Again, Jackson is coming. Sims gets it away for Manuel. Waymer came down with the ball, but they say he was out of bounds. David Waymer, number 44, the defensive back.
Nice defensive play. The ball was right on the money, and Dave Waymer playing corner about as well as it can be played. See the ball going up to the top of your screen. It's coming down. Now Waymer, number 44, goes in. See him there? Right in the middle of the screen. He reaches up there, both going for the ball. He has the ball, 1 foot down. Good call. Good call. He was out of bounds. He didn't get both feet down and didn't have, remember that one game, 1 hip, 1 back, 1 toe, you know, equals 2 feet.
Something like that.
That situation didn't exist.
We were about to come back.
Blitz.
Carpenter. Hey, the Saints have come with a blitz on just about every play this series.
They're coming after him that time.
First down for the Giants. They needed just a couple over the left side. He got him at the 45-yard line.
Look at the trench work here now. Linemen, button heads, defensive linemen taking on blockers, linebackers, safety. Frank Waddle up in there. 99, Tony Elliott moving in there. Boom, bang. He flipped over Carpenter upside down and backwards.
That's
what a way to make a living.
Oh. Giants first and 10 at their 45-yard line. Sims completing the pass to Manuel. Again, Ricky Jackson was coming, and that time Carpenter did a good job of blocking him up high.
It's better to stay high. Much better to stay high. Now watch Ricky Jackson, number 57. See, he's dogging inside now. Now we've got the tight end, Zeke Mowat, working outside in the zone by Gray. Now nice route there by Lionel Manuel. Nice little stick move to the inside, then work to the outside. Gets up, catches the ball at its highest point, gets knocked out of bounds. Good play. Only had 1 foot inbounds, but he was knocked out by the defender.
First and 10 for the Giants at the Saints' 40-yard line. Carpenter over the left side. Finds some running room, spins around, and he's close to another first down at the 29-yard line of the Saints.
Frank, there is a change in tempo. I feel it right now in the New York Giants.
That's a very big pass for Phil Sims because it puts him over the 4,000-yard mark for the season. Those are the quarterbacks who have passed for 4,000 yards in one season. As you can see, there's only 10 or 11 on there, and 3 of the quarterbacks accomplished it this year. So Sims now a member of that group. First and 10 at the 29-yard line. Sims going to run it down to the 25 and slides to the 23, where he is tagged.
You know, Frank, the remarkable thing about all those passing yards are the young receivers this year. Of course, Ernest Gray is back, but he missed a number of games, and to be playing with the likes of Lionel Manuel, a 7th-round draft choice, a rookie, you know, an inexperienced tight end, and Zeke Mowat, Bobby Johnson, a free agent, these kind of guys, that's a tremendous job, and you have to give credit to Ron Herart, the quarterback coach, and Pat Hodgins, the receiver coach. They did a great job.
Second down 4 from the 24-yard line. Joe Morris trying to get outside and stumbles forward to about the 21-yard line. So he got a couple of yards on the play, and the Giants going to be looking at a 3rd and perhaps 2 needed for the first down.
Take a look at the blocking on Ricky Jackson, number 57. Zeke Mowat jumps out. He thinks he's got him hooked, but Ricky just maintaining leverage, working inside out on the play. Look at Carpenter gets a nice knockdown on Russell Gary, but I tell you, Ricky Jackson did a nice job on that. Look at the effort there of Joe Morris. It pays to be short.
Sometimes they spot the ball at the 22, so we'll make it 3rd and 3 for the New York Giants at the New Orleans 22-yard line. Giants trailing 7-3 here in the 3rd period. Manuel to the right, Johnson to the left. From the shotgun, Sims wide open, got Galbraith, juggled it, caught it. It's a first down at the 8. And that almost sent Bill Parcells to an early grave.
Oh, gosh. I tell you, they came after him with all the linebackers up in there, and for some reason they were trying to cover that back out of the backfield with a guy lined up inside. He was too far away from him. See, the coverage was way too far behind him to cover him on the outside move. That's tough coverage. Look at him get that ball. Look at him reach. Great concentration after he flipped it up in the air. Tough coverage for the doctor, Jim Kovats, number 52.
14-yard pickup by the Giants and a 1st and goal from the 8. Giants going for the lead. Carpenter trying to cut back, and he's one of the best at cutting back, but really tough to cut back when there's nothing there, and there wasn't a thing.
Really tough to cut back when you're cutting back to the right back into the defensive end, Bruce Clark. And I noticed that on film. It's tough to cut back on him. Now watch Bruce Clark, number 75, 57 Jackson. See, it's tough for him to cut back on him because they maintain that backside leverage on the ball. They do a real good job of that.
Well, he picked up a yard. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 7. Recall the last time the Giants were this close. Saints did a great job with the goal line defense. And the Giants wound up with nothing. Sims under pressure. Jackson's got him. Little high-low job. Jackson on top and Bruce Clark on the bottom and rips him down for the loss back at the 12. And Joe Morris, the little man, missed a block that time, and it cost the Giants dearly.
See, it goes back to what we said in the first half. If you cut block a quality athlete linebacker, watch 20 as he crosses Joe Morris. Now watch him try to cut him down. See what Jackson did? He just stepped right over the top of him. Too good an athlete to cut down. You're better off buttoning him right up underneath the chin and taking your licks. But get the quarterback protected.
Of course, that's why Jackson's going to the Pro Bowl, because he's such a great athlete.
I tell you, he has a personal duel going on with number 56, Lawrence Taylor.
3rd and goal to go. Giants are now back at their 14. Sims looking in the end zone. In trouble behind the line and caught again. This time Frank Warren, number 73, breaks through. And the field goal unit will come on to the chorus of boos.
Frank, you're holding on to the ball too long. The coverage is taking away the patterns. When you're in field goal range, and Phil has enough experience to know this, you should not hang on to the football. Get it in the end zone and shorten that field goal kick for your kicker. That's all there is to it.
Now the Saints, by that graphic, you can see, have won the sack war so far, having trapped Sims 6 times, and Wilson has been virtually untouched. Ali Haji Sheikh, who hit one from 37, then had another from 48 nullified because of a penalty. Will kick this one from 40 yards away.
5 for 11 this year.
Hooked it badly. And again, the Giants come up with 0. So credit the Saints defense with another great job as the Giants got near the goal line.
Did a real good job. They did, and I think they're breaking down fundamentally in some of that pass protection technique of those running backs trying to cut those linebackers.
Department store Santa Claus is this afternoon. Wait a couple hours, he'll be there, because right now he's enjoying the football game along with the rest of us.
I think he's having a toddy or two over there, too.
It's a good day for him. Rodgers faked the reverse, hung out of the football, got a couple of yards out of it. Gary Reason's making the stop. He wasn't buying it.
Really good fundamental linebacker play by Gary Reasons, the rookie out of Northwest Louisiana State. I sat in the training room the other day and talked to him. He had an ice bag on one shoulder and the ice bag on one knee and an ice bag on the ankle. I mean, he had enough ice to really host about 6 cocktail parties over the Christmas holidays. He says playing this inside linebacker in pro football is a little tougher than it will be, and I'm really going to need than it was in college, and I'm really going to need a good off-season weight program.
He picked up just a yard on the play, caught it 2nd and 9 for the Saints. At their own 24-yard line, they're clinging to this 7-3 lead. Dave Wilson out to Wayne Wilson. I don't think Wayne expected that thing to come at him with the velocity it did. Almost knocked him down.
Yeah. Little screen pass out the backside of that formation. Had lineman out in front of him, but he slipped when he caught the football.
It is a little slippery. We did have some rain overnight, kind of a light, gentle, chilling rain, but it did stop early this morning, but the field is wet.
An AstroTurf, I think, more often than not, is better a little wet than totally dry.
Why is that?
Sometimes the shoes and the traction sometimes now is getting so good that you get too good a traction and you're getting injuries that occur without contact being made.
5.5 minutes remaining in the third period. 3rd and 9. Giants showing blitz. Here they come. Well, they did a good job of blocking Taylor that time and kept him away from the quarterback Wilson. Brenner, the intended receiver.
I think Wilson could hear him coming and almost felt him breathing. You can see here Junior Miller, number 84, a tight end, is in the backside of a double tight end formation. Actually, he's holding him. Pretty good job. That should be called. You can't have your hands out there, but he kept coming. And I know Dave Wilson is conscious of that kind of pressure coming off the backside. He told us that yesterday.
He did indeed. Brian Hansen to do the punting, and Lionel Manuel will be the deep man. It'll be a thrill for this youngster to make the Pro Bowl as a rookie. Great kick. Excellent hang time. Manuel at the 34. Takes it back to the 40. And that will be the end of the line. Officials are going to mark it at the 39-yard line. One of the Saints shaken up on the play. 42 yards on the punt. 5 on the return. We've got a timeout. After the Giants-Saints game, Hoops, DePaul, and Georgetown. Number 2 battling number 1 at Landover, Maryland at the Capitol Center. Most of you will see that basketball game. Those of you in the Southwest will be watching Tulsa take on the Arkansas Razorbacks of Eddie Sutton. So 2 outstanding basketball attractions right after this one. Guido Merkins was the Saints shaken up on the play, but he left the field under his own power. Seems to be all right.
He's probably taking care of himself because Bum said he's one of those guys can do it all. Anything he can do.
Plays just about every position there is. Giants 1st and 10 after the punt at their own 39. Phil Simms. They're pressuring him. Bobby Johnson on the reception, just short of the first down. He could have run a long way had Waymer, number 44, not made that tackle secure. Giants have had their problems on first down. As you can see, Saints doing a lot better in that department. Saints doing a lot more blitzing, I think, than they normally do. They seem to be coming on just about every play. Is it my imagination?
Well, it depends what you call a blitz. They're bringing a linebacker all the time. And I've always said a blitz is when they include safeties. You shouldn't have any trouble handling a linebacker. Boy, that's a nice linebacker play right there by Jim Kovacs, number 52.
Morris, the running back, getting nothing as Kovacs, the good doctor, comes in to make a house call.
You know, you'd think being as academic as he is, a Phi Beta Kappa and all, he wouldn't like all this tough stuff. He said, Coach, I'd actually like it if we were more physical even on the practice field.
He sounded like it, didn't he?
Yeah. He's a tough guy.
Almost sounded like the Saints weren't working him enough.
No, I don't believe that, but...
You've never heard a player say that, though, have you?
No. But he uses those big words, he says, every once in a while to confuse those guys that line up around him.
A lot of guys want a big word. They come to Jim. They say, lay one on me. 3rd and a yard.
Good effort.
Great job by Carpenter. Looked like he was stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Kept driving. And he got the first down at the 49-yard line. In the Saints end of the field. 1st and 10 Giants.
And you say, do they want to win this football game? It's meaningless. Look at this guy. Look at the second effort. Boom, bang. He's keep fighting for that first down. Nice job by Rob Carpenter. Bruce Clark was a little upset on that. He thought he had him from the backfield coming from the backside. He was jumping up and down all mad at himself.
Giants been moving the football up and down the field everywhere but in the end zone. Simms, linebackers all over him, delivers the football short of the intended receiver, Zeke Moat, number 84, who was covered by Jackson.
You can see why Bruce Clark is an all-pro. See him lined up there in the three-point stance right inside the linebacker, number 75. There he's on the rookie, Carl Nelson, 63. Battle him. Get your hands out, Carl. That's it. Push him out in there and get some help. That's it. Good job. That's all legal blocking now. It's push and shove game now.
You tried to make him a nose tackle yesterday when we talked to Bruce Clark. He didn't like that.
He didn't like it. He says, Coach, he says, I can play 5 years longer playing defensive end. I don't want any part of that nose guard.
Don't put that on me.
Don't give anybody that suggestion.
2nd and 10 for the Saints. On the delay, Morris didn't fool Frank Warren, big number 73, the 4-year man from Auburn, who was a 3rd-round draft choice back in 1981, wraps him up behind the line of scrimmage.
I tell you, you have to give the New Orleans Saints some real credit here. Their coaching staff, Bum Phillips, right on down to their assistant coaching staff. These guys are ready to play. And, you know, here they are, not a playoff contender. They're a team that at the beginning of the year when we did their first game, Frank, hey, they were considered a playoff contender. The Giants were not. Now it's 360 degrees. It's the other way around. And here they are playing. And Bum told you and me, he said, I have character people. They will play hard.
That's what's happened. 3rd and 13. Saints go with 5 defensive backs against Phil Simms, guiding the Giants out of the shotgun, and fumbles the football. Drops the football as he's hit from the blind side by James Geathers, number 97.
That's James Geathers' 6th sack, and that's a lot of sacks for a rookie. Now you know why they drafted him number 2.
Well, the fans here don't like it.
Coming around the right-hand side of your screen. See him worked right around there. Boom, he gets on him right there. Carl Nelson getting beat on the sack.
Giants recover. And Jennings in to do the punting. Dave's due for a big one. Growth is deep. And they had Fields in at the start of the game, but he bobbled a couple. Beautiful punt. So the sure-handed Jeff Growth is back there now. Fair catch signal on the 18-yard line. 41 yards on the punt. Got a minute 51 left to play in the 3rd period. Scores the same. The Saints 7, the Giants 3. Back in a minute. He doesn't have an S painted on his jersey, but he's certainly a marked man. Watch him here.
Here he is. Here, remember in the first half he did a great job of covering the punt. Look at these two guys. They're doing. Hey, that's not legal, guys. That's not legal.
All right, Vermeil, what are you going to tell me? They ought to start throwing more flags?
No, not at all. You know, so far the Saints haven't gone after Kenny Daniel that we thought they would in our initial thinking.
They've tried to run the football all day, and this man's been doing most of it. George Rogers. And again, we have not seen Earl Campbell thus far this afternoon for whatever reason. Bum figures that Rogers is going good, and he's going to leave him in there. That's the time left in the 3rd quarter.
You know, every once in a while, Taylor gets blocked. Here he is. Watch him working on the play. The play's going away from him. Boom. Nice block there. Oh, pancake block. Oh, I've been humiliated. Nice job. Who was that? That was Kelvin Clark.
And he's going to talk about that all off-season. You remember the day that I leveled Lawrence
He's
Taylor?
going to say, what are you telling me that guy's tough? I'd put him on his back. That doesn't happen very often, but it happens to the best because everybody's getting this league.
2nd and 7 from the 22. Dave Wilson goes over the middle, completes the pass to Wayne Wilson out to the 40 to the 45-yard line. You talk about Guido Merkins and a lot of other people being handy to have around. Here is a handy man. Wilson can run the football for you. He can catch it. He's a fine athlete. And just then he combined with Dave Wilson for 24 yards and a 1st down.
He really is handy and talented. In the offseason, Frank, he works as a substitute teacher.
Officials mark it at the Saints' 45-yard line. Dave Wilson sending Growth wide to the right side. He's got the rest of the team tight. Larry Hardy with motion. And Dave Wilson back to throw it. Sideline toss behind Hardy, the intended receiver. Takes us down to the 22-second mark. Here in the 3rd period. Saints leading it by a score of 7-3.
Dave Wilson's upset. He gave the tight end a pump move and wanted him to turn up the sideline, and he didn't turn up the sideline, and it upset him.
He's going to have to undergo a shoulder operation probably this week. Got a rotator cuff problem, and he said it's constant pain.
It's in pain. When he was playing backup quarterback, he didn't throw enough on the practice field to bother him. But once he became the starter a couple weeks ago, it really started coming back, so they're going to go ahead and get it fixed.
2nd and 10. Saints at their 45. Wilson back to throw it. Down the sideline and completed at the 40-yard line to Growth. And Jeff Growth is out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Great hands.
Yeah, this guy is a clever little guy. He reminds me of Pat Tilley. Here he is in the top of your screen, number 86, coming off on Kenny Daniel, number 24. He can't even catch up with him. Kenny, don't be that conservative. He gave him too much room. Now they come up and go ahead and put him out. Better tackle, better net. Nice job by Bill Courier. Good pass protection, though. Giving him all kinds of time. You see Leonard Marshall being blocked right there. Did a nice job. Here comes Lawrence Taylor right at the end. Oh, got a way to pull off, Lawrence. Of Arabia.
Another first down for the Saints, this time at the 38-yard line.
That's the first pass they've thrown at Kenny Daniel. I think maybe they got the message, huh?
Just seconds remaining in the third quarter here at the Meadowlands. Wilson going to Big George Rogers. And the former Heisman Trophy winner takes it down to the 35. Final seconds ticking away in the third period. And at the end of 3, the Saints maintain their advantage. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The New Orleans Saints 7, the New York Giants 3. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Second-ranked opponent. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chevrolet, who invite you to see, drive, and live today's Chevrolet. Michelob Light, super premium taste in a less filling beer. And by RCA, creators of video technology that excites the senses.
Frank Lieber along with Dick Vermeer. Welcome back to the Meadowlands. Last quarter getting underway, 2nd and 7. Saints at the Giant 35-yard line. Dave Wilson back to throw it. Tried to set up a screen to Wilson. Burt was through there quickly. Taylor would have been through there quickly, but they about tackled him.
He reached out and grabbed him by the jersey, and then there is no call.
Well, you want, I guess what you coaches say, you want consistency from the referee, right?
Well, there's so many things going on in a football game. It's such a fast game that it's getting to a point where it's really difficult for the officials to handle everything. You know that at mid-season, penalties were up 15%. Right now, it's only 3%. It is penalty calling over the second half of the season is being dropped off.
I wonder why. Third down at 7 from the 35. Wilson back to throw it again. Goes for Groth at the 25 and down to the 20-yard line. And really, Terry Kennard had pretty good coverage on it.
Good coverage, great concentration by Jeff Groth, the pattern receiver, as Bum Phillips calls him. As we look at the quarterback, you can see him now look to the right. There he is. He's going to throw right over the middle of the screen. Look at the defensive back right there on him. Terry Kennard's fighting him. He just gets him down. Nice job of concentration and catching that ball. This guy is, you know, he's more important than the 4-4 guy when you catch the ball that consistently.
Kennard really mattered himself. Couldn't believe he caught that ball. 1st and 10 for the Saints at the Giant 20-yard line. Coming up in the I formation this time. Wilson going for 6 and overthrows Tyrone Young, number 89. Tie in the sky. They call him because he's 6'6" and got a tremendous wingspan. But even that was too tall for him.
Lawrence Taylor tried to get the heat on him, but he was picked up nicely right here. You see Chris Ward, number 72, the big 280-pound tackle from Ohio State, on to the New York Jets, now playing in New York again, but for the New Orleans Saints.
That brings up another interesting name. Speaking of playing in New York, Richard Todd, who was the Saints starting quarterback, cost them a #1 draft choice.
I tell you, I believe he's worth a #1 draft choice. If you don't have a quarterback you can believe you can start him, then you trade for him. And he's good with safety blitz.
2nd and 10. Wilson
now playing in New York again, but for the New Orleans Saints.
That brings up another interesting name. Speaking of playing in New York, Richard Todd, who was the Saints starting quarterback, cost them a #1 draft choice.
I tell you, I believe he's worth a #1 draft choice. If you don't have a quarterback you can believe you can start him, then you trade for him. And he's good with safety blitz.
2nd and 10. Wilson sees it coming, but Hardy was slow coming out. He was guarded by Byron Hunt, and the tight end was the intended wide receiver.
Getting back to Richard Todd, you know, sometimes he goes from a quarterback that a few years ago set a New York Jet record for throwing the fewest interceptions in a single season to a frustrating year this year, Frank. And sometimes that's because of, you know, pass protection breakdowns, injuries in the offensive line, new systems, everything else. But I sincerely believe, as a former coach, that guy is a winning quarterback.
You think that #1 pick they gave for him was okay, huh?
Well, you might give a #1 for a quarterback if you don't have one that you think can win the playoffs for you.
3rd and 10, and now Dave Wilson wants to call timeout.
I'd never give a #1 for a quarterback if I thought I had one in my camp, but that one guy can make the difference, and he's young enough to play 4 or 5 more years.
Rookies. Christmas Day, good day to watch. Blue-gray game, Montgomery, Alabama. Annually, that produces some of the outstanding players. Last year, Louis Lips came out of that game, among others.
One of the broadcasters will be there, friend.
Yes, as a matter of fact. Also on Christmas Day, the Philadelphia 76ers take on the Detroit Pistons at 3:30 Eastern Time. You know, we're talking about Richard Todd and playing in New York. We know we are in New Jersey, but I understand that's a rather tender issue.
You know that, but I don't. When we came here to play, we always thought we were playing New York.
Even when you played in New Jersey.
Yeah.
3rd and 10. Big play for the Saints at the 20-yard line. Giants coming on strong, and Taylor this time was the one giant who stayed back. And maybe should have intercepted the ball. He thought he should have.
Here we go. Look at Perry Williams going in to take away that slant. The ball didn't get there. He makes contact with the guy, puts old Tyrone Young down on the ground. That's the best place to put that 6'7" receiver, is on the ground. Everybody's as tall as he is down there.
Morton Anderson with a field goal effort from 37 yards away. Long enough and good. Anderson, who's been one of the more consistent in the league this year, that's his 20th field goal in 26 tries. And it builds the Saints' margin once again back to 7 points. Timeout here in New Jersey. Parcells' team would be playing this game for a spot in the playoffs. As it is now, they have to wait, see what happens tomorrow. Have to have Washington beat St. Louis and Dallas lose to Miami. It may have affected the Giants a little bit.
I don't think they were thinking about it myself.
Why did it affect
the way
Parcells?
they talked, they weren't talking
Look
about
at
it.
this kick.
Great kick. This guy's a fine kicker. One of the better kickers in football, I think, right now. And there's a lot of good kickers, but this guy might be ranked up there in the top 3.
Going. The fans are ready, I'll tell you that, if nothing else. They trail 10-3. And a 1st and 10 at their 20 following the touchback. Carpenter up to near the 25-yard line for a pickup of 5 on the play before Bruce Clark, number 75, wrapped him up, and he's been in on a ton of tackles.
I'd rather run at him than away from him. I really would, because I think I could cut back better. See him, number 75, right in the middle of the screen, trying to be cut off by Carl Nelson, 63. It is tough to cut this guy off. He's so strong, good leverage. He's not real tall, but he has that good body strength and good leverage on the offender. And there, he's always there, Frank.
2nd down and 5 needed for the 1st down. Joe Morris taking the handoff from Sims, runs into a brick wall at the line of scrimmage. Nothing there. They're looking at 3rd and 4 plus.
You know, they have a different left tackle in the game now. William Roberts, number 66, the young rookie, number 1 pick out of Ohio State's playing left tackle. And the starting left tackle, Brad Benson, has moved into left guard in place of Dave Jordan. I think maybe they felt that the Dave Jordan-Brad Benson combination at guard tackle was giving them a pass protection problem in that 1st half.
Roberts was one of their 2 #1 draft choices this year. Carl Banks, the linebacker, was the other. On 3rd and 4, that's good for the 1st down. A little while between pass completions, but that time, John Missler on the receiving end of that throw, and the Giant fans,
they're excited about that 1st down.
It doesn't take much to get them excited here.
These Giant fans are wonderful, wonderful fans. I've been in the stadium a number of times, and it's amazing how loyal they are. And you know, and there's a waiting line, I guess, a mile long just to buy a ticket to get into this place.
Well, you could say the same thing about your old Eagle fans.
There's no question about those Eagle fans.
I'll ask you about that in a minute. 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. Sims trying to propel the Giants downfield, in trouble behind the line. out to the 35, to the 37-yard line. Winds up picking 6 or 7. What do you think's going to happen on that whole Philadelphia situation? You're fairly close to some of those people.
Well, I'm close to those people, but since I left as a football coach, I haven't maintained that kind of relationship in that I know what's really going on. Friends with the players and coaches, yes, but I never really did know what was going on financially. They didn't want me to ever be involved with those kind of problems, breaking concentration. I kind of believe they're going to end up staying there if someone in Philadelphia will come in and back them financially. I know Mr. Toast does not want to leave Philadelphia.
Second down. 4 needed for the first down. Giants at their 37-yard line. Sims with the sideline throw intended for Joe Morris. Another case of ball-repellent hands.
You know, he caught that ball every time they threw it on the practice field Thursday and Friday. Here it is, a little out pattern. There's a deep corner going in behind him, the same pattern that they threw to the tight end early in the game that Mowat caught going down the 3-yard line. Should have caught that football. Maybe one of his contact lenses got a little blurry that time. Should have caught that. He caught it real well on the practice field.
Well, they're practice players and they're game players.
He's a game player. He really is. He dropped the pass. It's sure easy for me to say that up here. Like I used to drop a pass in my team, he'd go out and hide behind the bench. So you stay away from it.
Third down and 4 for the Giants at their 37, trying to keep the drive going with 11 minutes left to play in the game. They're down by 7. Sideline throw. That's complete for a first down to Ernest Brett. No, now they're ruling it incomplete.
I question that. That might have been a con job by the bench. Let's see. Hey, Mr. Fishman will give us a shot of this one. Shotgun formation, nice snap, hit him right at the number. He's pedaling back, looking off to his left. He lays it out there in the out pattern. Here it goes, right to the sideline. Follow the ball, catches it. 1 foot, 2. Oh, he's in all the way. My God. That official better donate this check to charity on that call. Woo! Wasn't that in? Huh?
It looked pretty good to me.
Now, come on, back me.
No, you're the analyst. This is your opinion, all right? Well, maybe get another chance to look at it after the punt. High snap. Almost got away from Jennings. Groth is back deep. Takes it at the 22. 25. And out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Drilled out of bounds by Carl Banks.
Sometimes an official gets conned under the pressure of a sideline for being right in front of the bench. They say they don't, but I always believed as a coach they did. Here's the ball. It's down. There's 1 foot down there. Now watch the right foot drag it. Kicked up there. That's in. That's a gimme in. That's not even a close call.
Vermeil back at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. 1st and 10 situation for the New Orleans Saints as Phil Sims on the telephone trying to get some advice from upstairs. He's 12 out of 23 for a total of 127 yards. Meantime, Dave Wilson has hit 9 out of 20 for 114 yards for the Saints.
Dave Wilson used to throw for that many yards in the first quarter of Illinois playing for Mike White.
Dave Wilson going with the shortstop for the most part today. Hits Larry Hardy, the tight end, for 8 yards. Bill Courier, number 29, is there to make the stop.
In talking to Dave yesterday, Frank, he said, Coach, if you see us in the I formation on first down, we're probably going to run the toss or run some kind of play-action pass out of that. There was the I formation with a play-action pass.
You know, he also told us, he says he is conscious of getting the ball to George Rogers and to Earl Campbell, and your quarterback really shouldn't have to worry about that, should he?
Well, you know, I'll tell you, you're still a human being. You're still a person. You're still a guy that's with those guys all the time. And I think it's impossible to eliminate that kind of thinking.
2nd and 2 from the 38-yard line. Not much at all there for Wayne Wilson as he stopped at the line of scrimmage. Jim Burt, number 64, the nose tackle in the middle of this one.
Watch the nose tackle right there, number 64, being turned there by Court. Look at him jump back into the play. Nice squatty guy. He's built low to the ground. He's got like, piano legs, that guy. You see him in the locker room? He is a tough, tough competitor. He likes to play that position. He's not like Bruce Clark. He doesn't care. He likes it where it's tough.
Third down, a yard needed for the first down for the Saints at their 39, and that was Campbell, I believe.
Well, I'll tell you,
Campbell in for the first time this afternoon. Picks up the first down on his first carry.
Watch the nose guard here again. The Jim Burt, number 64, on Steve Court, the center. Right in the middle of your screen. Watch him butt the center. Boom. straightened him up right there, did his job. Now he needs help from other people. But you also saw that somebody else blocked him as well. That's why people don't like to play that spot.
Nose tackle, they say, is like a fire hydrant at a dog show.
Yeah, oh, nice.
Gets a lot of attention from all directions.
You're going to get us X-rated.
1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. Wilson trying to hit Groth. He hit him, and he hung onto it.
This guy, he is a very impressive receiver. He catches that ball. Watch this, coming right at you now, coming to the left side of your screen. Kenny Daniel, number 24, starts to pedal out. He sees the short pass. He's charging the ball right of your screen. Boom, contact made. But he kept that ball. See, you can catch the football even though you're being hit if you really concentrate and realize that the ball or the reception is more important than your health.
He's got a brother that is an outstanding baseball player, so he's a much better athlete, much more disciplined.
Plays at the University of New Orleans.
2nd down, less than a yard needed for the first. Campbell getting the call, and Earl down to the 45-yard line at his 2nd carry of the afternoon. Jim Burt, 64, and Curtis McGriff, number 76, on the stop.
Let me throw a stat at you, Frank. You know, this guy, Earl Campbell, who's a great back, has carried the ball for 4.8 miles in his career. How do you like that?
That's pretty good.
You impressed?
You think we'll ever see both of those guys in the same backfield, Campbell and Rogers?
Oh, I think so. I don't think you can justify having those two guys. Well, unless you get him in the backfield, and Bum could tell us.
Well, Bum's going to have to make that decision, and he indicated to us you may see some of that next year, having them both in there.
Bum Phillips knows what he's doing.
But somebody's got to block, and there's only one ball. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Wilson going down to about the 42-yard line. Giants come up with it, but the officials say no, it had been whistled dead.
You know, one time in a conversation with John Wooden at UCLA when I was the coach there, he told me if you ever have two great players at one position, don't try to make them both happy. Make sure one is happy, because if you try to make both happy, neither will be happy and neither will play up to their ability. Makes sense.
Well, that's the job that Mr. Phillips has got, apparently.
He can handle it. He's got more experience than I have.
6 minutes, 40 seconds left to play in the game. Saints leading 10-3. They have the football. They also have a 2nd and 8 at the Giant 43. Dave Wilson gives it to Campbell, and Campbell running hard inside the 40, inside the 35, and it takes 4 Giants to bring him down at the 33-yard line. Well, if one doesn't get you, the other one will. Campbell obviously well rested last week. Phillips alternated the 2 running backs by quarters.
Nice I formation. Watch the wingback, number 87, right at the corner of your screen. He hook blocks right there. Byron Hunt, 57. Now Wilson gets a block for Mr. Campbell. And look at the power in that guy. Look at him. They got about 5 guys trying to bulldog him down, and they finally get him there.
He's wearing the entire Giant secondary on top of it. All 4 of them were there. Pickup of 9 on the play, and the Saints first down at the 34-yard line of the New York Giants. Again, Campbell running over the right side inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. There's a man thinking about his future, no doubt. Ali Haji Sheikh.
Jennings has had a good day. Ali is upset. The nice long field goal that he did kick successfully. Penalized. No good. Here he is on the downside right now.
And hooked the last one rather badly.
After that great year he had last year, it has to be a letdown to him. But Bill Parcells told us both of those guys are doing everything you have to do as a player to be good at their position.
2nd and 6. Saints at the Giant 29. Campbell flag down as Campbell hits the left side. That is down about the 25-yard line. He may not have 10 years left in him, but he's got a few, I think.
Oh, what a horsepower.
Well, let's see what the marker was all about.
Campbell's excuse me, Frank. You know, Campbell has averaged over 1,300 yards a year in his career.
Some pretty awesome numbers. It's against the Giants, and the critical penalties have come against the Giants all day. If you missed the first half, it cost them a touchdown and a field goal. Both plays they were penalized, and they got neither score back. And time will soon become a factor with the clock reading 4 minutes 53 seconds.
Offside, number 57.
Byron Hunt was offside, and Taylor may have been a little shaken up on that last play. He's trying to get it back again. Coming up tomorrow, the NFL on CBS, and we've got the big one for a lot of people. St. Louis and Washington with the NFC Eastern Division title at stake. And those of you in other parts of the country will see Chicago and Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, and Philadelphia closing out against Atlanta.
Okay, that's the advantage of doing a Saturday game. I get to watch that game.
You know every member of the Giants is going to be watching that football game because it means a lot to their playoff hopes. Campbell on 2nd and 1. Looking for enough space to pick up the first down. And Lawrence Taylor in on the middle of the stop. Needed only a couple of feet. There's Bum, 10th year in the National Football League, 4th year as head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Of course, he was with Houston 6 years, made the playoffs 3 times. What did Bum say? He wasn't going to Jacksonville even if they were, or whatever.
He says, somebody else is not going to control my future. I'm staying where I am. If they stay there and want me to coach, that's fine. And if not, that's fine, too. He has a lot of pride.
That old line he had about a defeat.
And a loss is like a death in the family, he said. You never forget it. Sooner or later, you'll get over it.
He's had like 9 deaths in the family this year. If you count the losses. 1st and 10. Saints at the 23-yard line of the Giants. Campbell busting his way down to about the 21.
It's old power football. You know, Sid Gilman would have a heart attack watching this game. I know if he's watching this at home, he'd have a heart. I formation in pro football? You can't do that.
Rogers coming back into the game, number 38. Now, let's see. Campbell saying, me? You want me out of there? You want me to stay in? Wayne Wilson is out.
Look at the size of this guy.
That'll leave him with 1 running back, and that, of course, will be Rogers on 2nd and 8. Saints at the 22-yard line of the Giants, working on the Giants and working on the clock as well. Rogers looking for some place to go. Tries to turn the corner.
Terry Kennard?
Terry Kennard was over there, number 43.
Very good safety play, Frank. He really came up and put the pads to him. Really a good job.
Virtually nothing on that play. Former number 1 draft choice a year ago. And who replaced Beasley Reese at that position.
I came walking in the locker room Thursday morning early, and they said, how's Timex? I said, Timex? You know, the Timex is what they called Wilbert Montgomery. You know, takes a licking and keeps on ticking. That's what they called him all the time.
We've got a timeout.
Looks like
the Greek is going to do a little picking for us. He'll pick the winner of the DePaul-Georgetown game, which is next on CBS, as well as the big game between Seattle and Denver later on this afternoon. And Brent will have an interview with Gary Carter, the newest of the New York Mets, and a preview of tomorrow's big game between St. Louis and Washington.
He wants that ball, doesn't he? Look at Sims warming up, getting that thing. He needs better protection, and I'll tell you this, so you've got to give credit to the New Orleans Saints coverage. They have taken patterns away downfield.
Saints have the ball right now. They have a 3rd and 10 at the Giant 23. Tyrone Young in motion. The handoff is to Campbell. On the 3rd and 10 play, he gets maybe a yard at most, and that's it. But that will bring on the usually reliable Morton Anderson. And a field goal here means, obviously, that the Giants would have to score twice in the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
And when you haven't scored at all in 57 minutes, that's going to be tough.
That is a load. Morton, the young man who played at Michigan State while Aji Haji Sheik was place kicking for Michigan.
This guy speaks 6 different languages, sort of like you and me, Frank.
Yeah. But he's going back to, or going to Austria. He's originally from Denmark, came over here as a high school exchange student, and then someone saw him kick and offered him a scholarship at Michigan State. And he eventually replaced Tony Fritsch as the kicker of the Saints. It's rather unusual shoe apparel there for a kicker.
2 different color shoes there. I wonder if that makes a difference. I know this, he wears those fancy leather pants.
Yes, he does.
Not many guys wear leather slacks, do they?
Not many that I know, that I hang around with. 41 yards on the field goal attempt. Tremendous kick for length, but no good. He hooks it.
Should have had 2 black shoes on. Or 2 white shoes.
Got tremendous power into it, but not accurate. And that means that the Giants need a touchdown and an extra point to tie with 3 minutes and 11 seconds to go. And we could be in for one of those finishes. The fans are on their feet. They want their team to go for it here.
New Orleans defense has really played beyond their normal performance this year. When you stop and look at the scoreboard, Frank, they've given up 3 points, and they've been giving up through the year almost 24 points a game. A great job of coaching and playing by the New Orleans organization. You know who the defensive coordinator is for New Orleans is Wade Phillips, Bum Phillips' son.
Giants have not been able to throw the ball effectively. Sims has been sacked 6 times. Gets rid of this one. Moore is leveled. As he caught the football, he was decked by Terry Hogue, the former Georgia All-American.
Boy, he hit him. That one, he had a reason to drop that because he didn't have time to get it put away. It's a seam pass down the hole. You'll see 24 coming right there to the middle of your screen. Boom! Right up underneath the chin. No way to catch that football. A heck of a job done by a straight-A student. Boy, was that a vicious hit. That gave me goosebumps, Frank.
Hogue was called the finest defensive back that Vince Dooley had ever coached at the University of Georgia. 2nd and 10. Sims trying to escape the pressure. Does a good job out to the 30, 35. Has the first down at the 41.
You notice that time, Frank, he did no hook slide. He said, the game is almost over. No way am I hook sliding. I'm going to be a running back right now. That's why the players and why the coaches in New York like this guy so much, because he is a tough son of a gun. He'll fight with anybody.
Some of his best friends are defensive players. That tells you something about it.
He has that real good quarterback disposition.
1st and 10, Giants at their 41. Touchdown, of course, and an extra point could send us to overtime. Sims over the middle, that's up for grabs and picked off. Big interception by Bobby Johnson, and Johnson carries it back to the 48-yard line. We'll credit the block in the middle because that thing went up for grabs, and Johnson, a free agent last year, went to camp with the Dallas Cowboys and was released, and later picked up by the Saints, comes up with what could be the biggest defensive play of the game.
You'll see that the quarterback is dropping back. See him right in the middle of your screen. Now you're going to see some heat come around from the left of your screen. Now he jumps up inside, and I think that is Tony Elliott, number 99, batted the ball up in the air. There is the interception. Bobby Johnson has it. Now here he goes. I'm a running back. He's going to try to get as many yards as he can without fumbling that football. Here's the Saints bench. You can see that Bobby's excited. He's had 3 balls defense this year, but that's his first interception for the year. Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator, has to be very proud of this defense today.
And credit Tony Elliott, of course, with knocking the ball into the air, which caused the interception. Now the Saints going to work on the clock with Campbell and with Big George Rogers. And by the way, they're both in there at the same time right now. At least they were in that play.
Yeah, great. You know, Phil Simms has a little lower delivery than a lot of quarterbacks, and I think you're going to see him through his career get more balls batted around and tipped into the air like that. Meaning that the ball leaves his hand a little lower than say, like the Namath Classic style, and say my quarterback, Ron Jaworski at Philadelphia. They have that ball up there pretty high. A little tougher to tip that kind of ball, Frank.
Well, you saw the time remaining in the football game, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And the Saints looking at a 2nd and 10, and Bill Parcells telling Harry Carson and the defense, you got to hold them. We got to get it back. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Giants, keep in mind, no matter what happens today, still have a shot at the playoffs. But what has to happen is that Washington has to beat St. Louis, and Dallas has to lose to Miami for the Giants to get in. Conference on the
Sideline
bench there on the sideline with Bum Phillips. Giants, by the way, are out of timeouts.
You know, you go all the way back, Frank. That ball that was caught inbounds, called out of bounds, at this time really becomes a big play. And
Well, there's several.
mistake.
You go back to the mistakes, the penalties that cost the Giants a touchdown and a field goal. Both called back, and that could be the difference in the game. Well, Bum Phillips trying to end the season a disappointing year, his most disappointing on a plus note. Second down, 9 needed for the first down now from the 48-yard line. Wilson going with the short throw to Earl Campbell, and they ruled it an incompleted forward pass as Earl did a little juggling after that.
Earl was going to smile. He was going to smile.
2-minute warning going to both benches. 2 minutes left to play in the game, and the Saints in command, 10-3.
We better get in a...
We head back to play from their own 49-yard line, and the timeout situation looks this way. Saints have a pair, and the Giants are out. And New York on the short end of the scoreboard, 10-3. Dave Wilson, 11 out of 23 for 131 yards. This is a young man that once threw for 625 yards in a game that is one season at Illinois against Ohio State for the NCAA record. 3rd and 9. Can the Saints keep the drive going? Good protection. Wilson goes over the middle, hits Lane Wilson, but short of the yardage needed for the first down. Giants have had some problems getting a hold of the football.
And then hanging on to it once they got a hold of it.
True. Those interceptions and fumbles will kill you. And that's Bum Phillips type of football. Hang on to the ball. Grind it out. 4th down. No way now the Giants can stop the clock. 1 minute and 20 seconds. Lionel Manuel. This the rookie come up with a big play.
This guy is an electrifying type guy. He makes big plays. And every time you talk to the coaches about him, they always say this guy makes big plays. Now, his longest return this year is 22 yards, so he needs a real long one right now.
Saints took all the time they were allotted, and the 30-second clock is run out, so they'll take the 5-yard penalty. And the clock is now stopped with 1 minute and 14 to go. Fred Wyatt, the referee, in on the discussion there with Guido Merkins and with Jim Kovach. That'll move the ball into the Saints' end of the field at the 49-yard line. See what kind of pressure they put on the rookie Hansen here. The Giants have got 10 men up at the line of scrimmage. They're lined up funny. They're coming after him. Hansen went down, but no flag. And a very short kick goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line of the Giants. So obviously that big rush affected the concentration of the punter, Brian Hansen. And he got off a very, very short kick of only 11 yards. Timeout. Well, today post-game show, the Greek with his picks. We'll have Brent talking to Gary Carter, and Carter answering the charges of Pete Rose that he's somewhat of a hot dog. And a preview of the St. Louis-Washington game. I remember a couple of weeks ago, you were in Foxborough. You said St. Louis is going to win the division. That means you think they're going to beat the Redskins tomorrow.
Well, I thought that because every game I did for St. Louis, they played so well. But watching their defense play last week, I don't know.
1st and 10. Giants 62 yards away from tying it up. Sims over the middle, intercepted. And that should close the door. Frank Waddle, number 49, just going to hang on to the ball.
Poor judgment in making that call and throw, really. He shouldn't have tried to force that ball. He had a minute to go. Sometimes you start thinking you got to win the ball game in one play, and that's what happens to you.
So the Giants will not get that 10th victory of the year. Instead, they'll wind up 9-6. The 9 victories will tie their total in 1981. Last time they were in the playoffs, but Bill Parcells wanted very badly to get number 10, which would have been the first time since 1963 that a Giants team had won that many ball games. And of course, if you do make the playoffs, you don't want to get in off 2 straight losses.
Yeah, I know. You lose momentum, and you can see by the expression on Bill Parcells' face that he's upset and disappointed. And very few people can appreciate what a coach goes through in experiencing a loss, because in fact people have a hard time believing you care that much. There's that flap on.
Giants can't stop the clock. They're out of time, so they'll have to do it one more time, and that will be it. Dave Wilson.
You just can't say enough about the job the New Orleans Saints did, because you know a lot of teams that are coming off a disappointing season, playing the last game on the road, they have their bags packed really all the way before they get here, and they don't play well. This is a real credit to Bum Phillips and his coaching staff and to his squad to come in here and play this well today.
Well, you wind up on a plus note, at least for the season, despite all the disappointments they've had this year. They do have the one positive thing to look back on and to build for the 1985 season. That should do it. Of course, it matters little to the Giants, really, win or lose. They're still alive in the playoffs, but now they have to have the Redskins beat St. Louis tomorrow and Dallas lose to Miami on Monday. If that happens, Bill Parcells' team would be in the playoffs. Otherwise, it's a case of wait till next year. Very much a defensive ballgame, Dick.
I know, but I say this in behalf of the Giants. If they would have started the season knowing at the end of the season, 9-7, they'd have really been excited and looking forward to the year. And, people predicted them not to win very many games and be last in the league. And here they are, a playoff contending football team. The season over for them. You have to give him credit for doing a great job. He probably should be the NFC Coach of the Year.
And he may very well be as the Giants wind up 9-7. Stay tuned now. Lots more upcoming on the postgame show with Brent Musburger. And Brent will be back with you in just a moment.
Strange as it sounds, Jimmy, nothing has changed for the Giants. Washington still has to beat the Cardinals. Miami has to beat the Dallas Cowboys on Monday to get the Giants into the playoffs. But what happens now to the odds as far as the Giants?
It's not bad to have going for you. Washington is a 2-1 favorite over St. Louis. Miami's a 2-1 favorite over Dallas. 2-1 shots figure 5-4. So the Giants are 10-8 favorites to still be in the playoffs.
All right, we've got a lot more coming up your way. The Greek is just warming up. He's going to be telling you about that key basketball game that's coming your way here on CBS. Number 1 ranked Georgetown against 2nd ranked DePaul. Who will win that game? Jimmy's got a strong opinion. How about the showdown for the championship of the AFC West? The Denver Broncos go into Seattle. Can they handle the Seahawks and all that noise? We'll find out. And earlier today, I talked to Gary Carter, the newest member of the New York Mets. We'll find out about his problems with the Montreal Expos, some feelings of jealousy within that franchise. And we will preview the Cards and the Skins. And, of course, still ahead of us here on CBS this afternoon, college basketball. Most of you are going to be seeing the DePaul Blue Demons against the Georgetown Hoyas. And the rest of you will see the Razorbacks of Arkansas. They will be in action against the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa. And we will continue with our post-game activities here on CBS in just a moment. Let me run quickly through the playoff picture for everybody. As I pointed out, the Giants' playoff hopes depend entirely on what happens in other games this weekend. The Cardinals must lose in Washington tomorrow. Dallas must lose to the Miami Dolphins Monday night. If that happens, then the Giants make the playoffs as a wild card team, and they would play the Rams next Sunday in Anaheim. Now, as for the rest of the NFC, the 49ers and Bears are already in as champs of their respective divisions. Now, the Eastern Division title will be decided tomorrow in that Redskin-Cardinal game. If the Cardinals lose, they are eliminated altogether. Now, even if the Redskins lose, they're going to be in as a wild card unless somehow they lose that by 46 points, which does not seem likely. But in the event that they're out, the Dallas Cowboys would be the other wild card if they beat Miami Monday night, okay? But if the Dolphins win that game, then the Rams would play the Redskins, who would have qualified as a wild card even though they lose to St. Louis. Now, over in the AFC, 4 teams are in the playoffs: Miami, Denver, Seattle, and the Raiders. Now, the remaining slot, the Central Division race between the Bengals and Steelers will be decided tomorrow. But even though the Seahawks and Broncos have clinched playoff berths, the AFC West title and a bye in the wild card round is going to be up for grabs when those two teams go at each other in Seattle later this afternoon. Because if Denver can somehow come through and upset the Seahawks in Seattle, and the Raiders beat Pittsburgh tomorrow in the Coliseum, then the Raiders will host the wild card game next weekend. So it becomes extremely important. And if the Raiders beat the Steelers, all the Bengals would have to do to win the AFC Central, that would be to handle the Buffalo Bills in Cincinnati. So right now, let's send you out to Landover, Maryland, and a preview of the big basketball game as the teams are coming on the floor. Here's Gary Bender now with Billy Packer.
Okay, Billy, did you get that all down?
Well, I wonder what happens, Brent, if somebody has a tie game tomorrow. That's all I know.
Billy, we really feel this game with the rookie coach Joey Meyer and the 13-year veteran John Thompson facing each other really comes down to a coach's game.
Well, it really does. For Joey, this is the first real test of what he does in this kind of pressure. But also for both coaches, I think that they both have moves that they've got to make today, depending on how their teams react to the other team's pressure. So we're going to see some great coaching strategy in this ballgame, and we'll see it early.
Joey Meyer says they got to overcome the fear of Georgetown.
Well, one of the good things for his club, it's a very experienced team, and they beat Georgetown last year basically with the same cast of characters. So I think that's one hurdle his team has at his advantage.
Some of you will be seeing that Tulsa and Arkansas game from Little Rock. Let's go there now and join Vern Lundquist.
Okay, Gary, I'm here with Steve Grody, and we've got another sellout crowd, and we're still trying to figure out the NFL playoff picture as well.
My Bengals will be there. My Bengals will be there.
Okay.
You can count on it.
Interesting, Steve, that Gary and Billy were talking about a coaching battle with a young coach in DePaul and the veteran in John Thompson. In Tulsa and Arkansas, Eddie Sutton and Nolan Richardson, we've got two of the more accomplished coaches here as well.
Yeah, and I think these are the two more attractive teams to play for. They both come out and play basketball. Of course, Sutton's teams are known for that strong overplay, man-to-man defense, which just creates all kinds of action. Tulsa plays that full-court pressure defense, multiple type defenses. They led the nation in scoring last year. We have just got a great ball game in store for us.
First time that Nolan Richardson and Eddie Sutton have ever met. It ought to be interesting. Now let's go back to Brent Musburger in New York.
All right, Vern, thank you. Jimmy, let's turn our attention back to that Georgetown-DePaul confrontation. The Hoyas have won 17 in a row dating back to last year. Joey Meyer comes in here ranked second. What about that game?
Well, they're both 6-0, Brent, and they're 1-2 in the rankings. Of course, no question about it. Georgetown is number one. When you got that Ewing guy going for you, you've got everything. But the thing about Georgetown is they got 11 players, and every one of them is a great athlete and a great basketball player. Now, DePaul, to beat Georgetown, will have to hit from the outside and hold that pressure down. I'll tell you something, Brent. I think it's a Georgetown win by 10.
All right. Jimmy, I'm going to ask you a little bit later about the confrontation between Seattle and Denver, but I want to go back out to the Meadowlands because our Irv Cross is standing by live with an offensive lineman for the Giants, Brad Benson. Irv?
Brent, one of the men who, of course, is very seldom seen close-up like this. Of course, an offensive lineman, Brad Benson. But, you know, Brad, this is the first time this season the Giants haven't scored a touchdown.
Yes, and it was very frustrating to be down that close so many times and not be able to take advantage of it. That's got to be one of the most frustrating things for an offensive lineman because that's really where we get our personal gratification is by putting the ball across the goal line. And you're missing those 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s on the Saints 4 and 5. I mean, that really hurts.
Was your loss today really a reflection of a team maybe coming into the game a little too relaxed, maybe overconfident, feeling you should have beaten the Saints, you should have beaten them easily?
I don't really think that was the case going into the game. I think that maybe for some reason or another we seemed flat. I don't think we played like we were capable of playing. We gave the Saints an opportunity to play, I think, the kind of football that they would like to play, and that's just grind it out, eat up the clock, and unfortunately our offense didn't stay on the field like it should have and keep the ball away from those two big backs of theirs because that's basically what they want to do, and they did it.
In our pregame show, Brad, we said that one of the primary reasons the Giants have been winning this year has been the improvement of the offensive line. Has this offensive line come together, or are you still feeling each other out?
We've come together. That doesn't mean we're going to always be perfect. I'm sure we're going to still have some more games where we're going to learn a lot. Hopefully it won't be at the expense of losing any longer. I think that basically we are a super young line, and we have a learning process that we have to go through, but I think that we are capable of winning as we go through that, and I think that this year basically was a reflection of that.
Brad, a few weeks ago, the Giants had their destiny in their own hands. Now you're in a position you have to sit and let somebody else knock off opponents to get you into the playoffs. Your reaction to tomorrow's game against St. Louis and Washington, and of course in Monday night, Miami and Dallas?
I think basically we've all been so surprised by this loss. I really don't understand the total picture from a losing point of today. And that's basically shows you where my thoughts were coming into today. I'm sure somebody will be glad to tell me when I get into the locker room, but really...
Right, but the playoff picture is pretty confusing, I know. You have to wait to have other people beat the other points before you can slip in. Brad, thanks again. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Brett?
All right, Irv, thank you very much. And again, for the Giants to be in, Washington must handle the Cardinals, and the Miami Dolphins must beat the Dallas Cowboys. Still ahead of us, we're going to be taking a closer look at that Cardinal-Redskin game. Jimmy will still handicap Seattle against Denver, and I will talk to the new Met catcher, Gary Carter, and we will continue with the NFL Today in just a moment.
Installment of NFL 84, we may have a better handle on how things will turn out in the NFC. Whew. Coming up next, Steve Largent with Ahmad Rashad as we catch our breath and NFL 84 continues.